What you're looking at here is the most affordable electric vehicle that you can buy in India right now, and it's from Tata Motors. It is of course the Tiago EV, and you may have seen it on our channel before in our first drive video. Today we are trying to address this one major question around this car, which is how far will it really go on a full charge in the real world. And I'm talking 100 to 0% to the point wherein you will have to push this car to the charging point. Well, that's exactly what we did. And if I'm honest, on some level, we were surprised by the end result. I'm also going to answer all the questions that you guys have sent in for the Tiago EV, specifically about its performance with full load, its battery range without AC, and more crucially, its running cost when compared to the petrol and CNG models of the Tiago. So make sure you stay till the end because the difference in running cost might surprise you. The Tiago EV is currently the most affordable electric car in India. It starts at 8.49 lakh rupees ex-showroom for the entry-level variant, which is quite reasonable. Even this top-spec Tiago EV that we have here is a good couple of lakhs cheaper than the Tigor EV. For that money, you get a 24 kWh battery pack and a 55 kW electric motor, which translates to roughly 75 brake horsepower and 114 Nm of torque. So the claimed range for this car is 315 kilometers, but that's not achievable in the real world anyway. Now we have range tested every single EV that Tata Motors makes, and so far we have achieved around 70% of their claimed range every single time. So by that calculation, one would assume that this Tiago EV would do at least 220 kilometers on a single charge, right? So let's find out. After charging up the Tiago EV to 100%, we reset the trip meter and drove it across a predefined route till the battery was completely dead. So when we started the test, the indicated range that we got was 266 km with AC and 296 km without AC. We did the test with the AC on all the time, under ideal conditions with moderate to heavy traffic in the city and some amount of highway driving as well. So the claimed range on the Tigor EV and this Tiago long range version is identical at 315 kilometers. Now when you compare the battery sizes, the Tigor's battery is slightly bigger. In fact, its battery capacity is 2 kWh more than the Tiago EV. But then this car is lighter by 100 kilos, so it doesn't really matter. Perhaps this also explains why this car seems to be consuming less energy for every kilometer that it does compared to the Tigor EV. Let me explain. In electric vehicles, efficiency is measured in watt-hours per kilometer. So what this means is that for every kilometer covered, the car will consume a certain amount of watt-hours of electricity. So when we did our range test in the Tigor EV, we saw the watt-hours per kilometer figure ranging between 113 and 131, whereas in the Tiago EV, it was between 107 and 127 the whole time. Now this may be down to the fact that the Tiago EV is 100 kilos lighter and that its electric motor has been calibrated a certain way. I mean, it's making a lot less torque than the Tigor EV, possibly because it has to pull less weight, which in turn has allowed Tata Motors to make it work more efficiently with the battery pack. All said and done, it took us over 9 hours to complete the range test, and in that time, the Tiago EV, well, it covered exactly 213.9 kilometers before it was completely dead. So we had full power and AC up until 10% charge, after which the top speed was limited to around 52 kmph, the build-up in speed was also noticeably mellow, and lastly, the AC was automatically shut off with just the fan working. So all of this is basically to maximize whatever is left of the range and get you to the nearest charging point. And it really works because the last 23 kilometers were covered using just that 10% charge. So if you think about it, it can be a lifesaver. Now let's move on to the questions that you guys have sent in. So starting off with a really good one by Dinesh Vasudevan, who wants to know about the difference in running cost between this electric version and the petrol and CNG models of the Tiago. So we have tested all three powertrains and honestly there is a lot of information and numbers to go through. So here's a little visual representation of how much it would actually cost to run each of these cars on a monthly basis. Now, if we take 1000 kilometers a month of usage, the Tiago Electric is by far the cheapest to run and by a big margin. Now, a lot of this depends on where you mostly end up charging it, because right now the cost of electricity per unit is around 10 rupees if you use home charging, whereas the cost varies between 14 to 21 rupees using public chargers. If you can plan properly and charge your vehicle using home charging as much as possible, then the Tiago EV can be really easy on your pocket. Moving on, Aditya Parak has a bunch of questions about this car, so I will try to answer them one by one. So firstly, how's it like in stop and go traffic, especially on an incline? So there is no hill hold function or any kind of assist to get you going if you're stuck on a flyover or something. You will have to rely on this good old handbrake to get yourself going. And honestly, it doesn't feel any different from a regular car. In fact, because this is an automatic and it's electric, and the buildup of torque is so smooth, it's actually easier in this car than many automatics. Next up, he says driving comfort / style in Regen 3. So I'm assuming he wants to know how well the regen braking works in level 3, which is the most aggressive setting. So first of all, I would like to add that the regen braking, it doesn't work until the battery percentage has dropped below 90%. So you won't feel it working anyway. And when it is working, well, it is effective, but it's not as aggressive as the one on the Nexon EV, in the sense that I couldn't do one pedal driving in the Tiago EV, even in level 3, which is the most aggressive setting. So in that case, it is a little lacking, but if you don't want it to be so intrusive, then it's actually perfect for you. Aditya has also asked about the gear selector situation. Yes, switching between drive and reverse is quite annoying because this gear selector dial is quite slow to respond. And if you're in sport mode and you want to make a 3-point turn, then it's a test of your patience because it takes forever to move the dial from sport to reverse and then back to sport, because you will be going back and forth. Okay, so going ahead, Dr. Pranesh Pavaskar wants to know how much range there is with and without AC. So like I said, we do our range test with the AC on the entire time. And we got 213.9 kilometers. Unfortunately, we didn't have enough time to do the test again with the AC off, although I believe it will go another 20 to 25 kilometers at least. So you are looking at a real world range of around 240 kilometers with the AC off. Lastly, we have Sharan4313, who is keen to know what is the performance like with 3 to 4 people on board. Well, is it too slow or acceptable? Well, Sharan, I will tell you that it's not slow at all. In fact, as long as you're not doing highway speeds, you won't even feel the difference in acceleration if it's just you or like the car is fully loaded. So we tested it against the clock using our specialist timing gear, and there was a difference of around 3 seconds from 0 to 100 when we tested it with one person and fully loaded. So in that sense, you won't feel much of a difference, and it's certainly not slow in everyday driving conditions. So that's about it from us today. Let us know in the comments if you would like to see more of this format wherein we take questions from you from our social media and answer them here fairly. Also, if you have any more questions about the Tiago EV, then please write them down in the comments and we will get back to you. Until then, drive safe and thank you for watching.